Hey YouTube, on top of Great League Remix, which I went over this morning, there is also Great League Open. Now, a lot of these teams we will see, but I just want to actually point something out of just not only how good of a job they did with this Remix Cup, but how you will just see the main Pokemon that are banned in the Open Great League. So, looking at the rankings here, you have Jumpluff, Clodsire, Mandibuzz, Malamar, Lapras, Corsola, Tinkaton, Sableye, Dusclops, Asnoir, Feraligatr, Corviknight, Clodsire again. For Alligator again, Wheezing. We're Sableye at 20 here. So, like 15 of these Pokemon are banned, right? So, Jumpluff, Clodsire, Mandibuzz, Malamar, Lapras, all banned. Corsola's in, Tinkaton's in, because it's kind of newer. Sableye's out. For Alligator's out. So, you have a lot of just these Pokemon Wheezings out. You have a lot of these Pokemon in the top 20 that are banned in the remix, which could we'll see what the meta turns out to be. Like, I do think that there are certain Pokemon in the top 10 here, 10, 15 here that are just going to be good, like Corsola and Tinkaton, stuff like that will be good in the Remix Cup as well. But it will be nice to have a little bit of change from this. However, since we are in the Open Great League, I'm going to go over some teams that I have either played myself or showcased, and you'll kind of see that at least one, if not multiple of these Pokemon are always on this list. And for good reason, right? They are the top Pokemon used in the Great League Open, and they are very, very strong. So it makes sense that you would use them. So I started this team. This team I just showcased yesterday. Clodsire, Sandslash, Driplim. Sandslash and Dugong, I think, are two kind of sneaky Pokemon right now in the Open Great League, because you have some ground Pokemon like Clodsire and stuff like that. You have flyers in either Drifblim or Corviknight or Jumpluff. And then you have some steals coming up like Tinkaton. So I think that the ice ground combo is very, very strong. Clodsire, you bulky, spammy, coverage, it's a reason that it's one of the top Pokemon for the last couple seasons now. And then Shadow Driftblim, there's a lot of ghosts in this meta. And every time I play a Shadow Driftblim, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember why I like it so much. Now you need shields with it because it is pretty glassy. But just that, I'm using the Shadow version. That Shadow Astonish to Shadow Ball or even Icy Wind for coverage really is strong. And being a flyer in itself, flyers, of course, I'm trying to remember how many seasons ago did Wing Attack get nerfed? Like 4, maybe 3 or 4. Once Wing Attack got nerfed, flyers just kind of went by the wayside, and it now comes down to like which flyer has a secondary typing that helps, right? So you got your Talonflame with fire, you got your Jumpluff with grass, and Drifblim as the flyer with ghost. Really nice coverage in this meta, right? Because there's so many ground Pokemon which you resist. You can hit super effective against other ghosts. You beat the grass that's out there. You have Icy Wind for like dragons and stuff. So I just really like it as a coverage Pokemon in this meta. Kanto Ninetales. I was very, very happy to use Kanto Ninetales. I will say, why am I using Kanto Ninetales? Why am I so happy to use it? For those of you who are new to this channel, I was the first person in the world to use Kanto Ninetales as a core breaker season. I forget what season it was, but core breaking the Trevenant, Walrein, Registeel core whenever that season, that meta was. I was the first person to use it and recognize its strength. Unfortunately, for my love of it, the meta turned into ground and water. So ground and water obviously just kills you. And then Jumpluff got buffed and is now the number 1 ranked Pokemon. And now there's Tinkaton as a steal. And now people are starting to use Corviknight more. And suddenly like, grass and steel, this may have some play. So, pro has some play. Con, ground and water still exist in this meta, which is why I put in Feraligatr and Credilli to deal with the ground and water that you are going to have an insane, and rock, and like an insane amount of problems with. So, coverage there. Do I think Ninetales is the best fire? No, I don't. I think Talonflame's better, and I think what you're going to see sometime this week, either tomorrow, maybe tomorrow afternoon, I'll do one remix and I'll do one open. A team I use with Typhlosion. Typhlosion having that Thunder Punch coverage and that insane Blast Burn combo. It is a very, very strong Pokemon, so I enjoyed using it as well. But it's nice to see fire have some little play, even though it's not a ton. What was this team? Oh, yeah, this team is my Pokemon that I think have a lot of play together, but they are too glassy. So Primeape and Sandslash. Again, I just went over Sandslash. Then you have Primeape because, there's no, not a lot of normal typings, but like there's fret and stuff. There's some ice. There's some steel now. So it has play, but close combat just kind of nukes everything. And the Rage Fist can really, really ramp up fast on Pokemon. But these two are very, very glassy, so that's why I just threw in Dusclops. Just you need some bulk in the back here. Speaking about Corviknight, this is when I tested it again after Jumpluff top ranked, Ting Tong came out. I still hate it. I really, really don't like this Pokemon. I think it's a fast move Sand Attack, and I think in this video I even explained the Sand Attack versus Psywave. Both non-stab, both same energy generation, but Psywave does like 1 extra damage per turn compared to Sand Attack. So I don't love the move Sand Attack. And then again, Sparkling Aria on Lapras is a great move. And this was without I didn't take Shadow into consideration when I did that analysis. I'm like Psywave is just that much better than Sand Attack. Shadow versus non-Shadow. Shadow versus Shadow, or non-Shadow versus non-Shadow. And then Iron Head and Sky Attack are not just like, they're fine moves. They're just not great moves. They're okay moves. They spam at an okay rate, 13 to 14. It's not your fastest. It's not your slowest. You get by in your typing, right? Your Skarmory. You got your Steel, Flying. So you resist ground. You resist grass. You resist flying. You resist psychic. You resist like a ton of resistances, which makes it a strong Pokemon to use. Despite I don't like using it. So you need some coverage for steals, right? Iron Head, Sky Attack can be resisted, so that's where Primate comes in. And then you need a safe swap. I think Lapras with the Sparkling Aria spam. I put in Skull Bash. You could put in Nice Beam. I just think I didn't want to like TM it away. So I think that's the main reason I used Skull Bash there. This was a viewer submitted team with the it's double weak to ice in the back. I don't mind this too much because you have Stone Edge, and one of the main ice is Dugong, and Frenzy will hit super effective. So I'm not too concerned about the double weak to ice. But then you have Lapras in the front for that. Superior should not be surprising. Superior's been actually the whole team should not be surprising. Lapras, Clodsire, Superior have been extremely meta. I was just going to open up to see what the banned are. I know for sure Clodsire, yeah, Lapras is too. So I think 2 of these 3 are banned. Is Superior banned too? I know Jumpluff is for sure. I don't know about Superior. But basically 3 super strong Pokemon, pretty spammy Pokemon overall. This is like a sort of ABB style team. Credilli and Ferret both weak to fighting. I use Credilli as safe swap. I think Credilli is strong. You see it everywhere. I think it is banned in the remix. You see it, and so is Talonflame. Ferret is not, but the first 2 are banned in the remix. You see you see both. You see Ferret and Credilli everywhere. Credilli just with the great spam, only 12 to get to a Grass Knot Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb lowers your attack. They pretty much 90% of the people throw Rock Tomb even when they shouldn't. So it is a very, very strong safe swap combo move. Great coverage, right? Because you got your water cover, but then as a grass you have fire cover with the rock, and you neutralize the fire with the rock. So it's a pretty strong Pokemon. And Talonflame, like I said, I think Talonflame was one of the better Pokemon just because there's a huge gap in these Pokemon. There's a huge gap in fire Pokemon, and there's a huge gap in flying Pokemon. And that allows certain Pokemon like ground and some others to just basically roam free. And so now to have a Pokemon that has your coverage for those, I think it has a lot of play. This is my 2 shield beast team. So for those of you who've been around for a while, know that Shadow Marowak is a 2 shield beast that like you say swap, and then a Feraligatr comes in as a water. You're just in a 2 shield, you beat it with ease, which was what makes Marowak so deadly as a 2 shield. But it's the same case with like sort of Dusclops and Steelix. Like Dusclops, just so you have that spam at 9996 on Shadow Punch, you can just out spam your opponents. You got bulk, kind of just 2 shield your way through that and spam. And Steelix, same thing. It's got pretty good bulk and Thunderfang. If it's a neutral situation, and you get Thunderfang and then lower your opponent's defense with Psychic Fangs, you can really just 2 shield beast through this. So this is kind of like 3 Pokemon, all kind of have play in the open Great League that you can just like kind of team read your opponent and then 2 shield your way through the matchup. And then Morpeko for Alligator Superior. Yeah, this is just like a basic coverage line. Morpeko is going to be weak to ground. Superior will deal with the ground for sure. For Alligators, your safe swap that can also deal with ground. You don't have a 100% answer for fighter, but for alligator, superior can kind of handle most fighters in this meta. So Morpeko is a absolute glass cannon. For alligator, as a shadow, is pretty glassy, and then superior gives you a little more bulk. But I think the spamminess, I think it's team spam. Yeah, this is what team spam was. For those of you who don't know what I consider spam, I consider 8, 10, and 12 turn moves as spammy moves. So Morpeko with Aura Wheel at 10, Hydro Cannon with Feraligatr at 10, and Frenzy Plant at 12, 12, 10, 12. So to have like, this is what I love, these types of Pokemon. 3 Pokemon that can basically, not they're all nukes, but they are insanely hard hitting move. Aura Wheel's kind of a nuke, but the other 2, Hydro Cannon and Frenzy Plant, are both so hard hitting. And to be able to spam them at this pace puts an insane amount of pressure on your opponent's shield. Now, you offset that with Morpeko and Feraligatr being a bit classy, but I just love these type of Pokemon. If you've been watching this channel from the beginning, like Swampert's always been on team with the Hydro Cannons. I loved before Morpeko became the electric Togedemaru with Wild Charge. I just love the ones that can like just get to the put pressure on the shields. So I think if you put pressure on shields, it gives you more opportunities to figure out win cons. But that is it. Like I said, remix this morning. I think I don't know what people are gonna play. I think I'll balance the leagues this week for Great League and Great League Remix, only because Great League Remix is on next week with Ultra League. So I don't think there's a point to like waste all the Great League Remix battles this week when you're going to be 100% using them next week. But we also be showcasing what do you do when you have an Ultra League and a Master League week? You start these interviews. Just film Poke Daxi's video on the weekend. It's an hour-long interview, and now we're gonna finish up with some battles, like him doing some battles today, and I'll merge them all in. So it's gonna be like an hour 15, hour 20 sort of video, one-on-one with Poke Daxi. I'm gonna do one-on-one with Home Slice, and we'll start getting this series up and really kind of use these series as a break when we have these just like down weeks of like a second week of something and a Master League sort of thing. Like a second week of, and if I had this like a few weeks ago, it would have been like Master League and the second week of Spring Cup would be a perfect time to put these videos out. So that is my plan. Anyways, that is it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.